it has been a hard year, but there's been a lot of positives. So at the start of the year, I decided to work a lot on self-improvement or self-growth, because it's really important, and it took me a long time to realise that for mental health survivors out there, it is so important to focus on yourself. We need to discover what the problems are with ourselves. You know, like trauma from childhood, for example, if that's still affecting you as a grown adult, that's a sign that you need some support with that. So, you know, for a long time, I suffered with a lot of traumatic experiences, flashbacks and such from my childhood. And I just ignored them and I pushed them to the back of my head and I forgot about them. But that didn't help, because the older I got, the more I started to become affected by this trauma, you know, nightmares, and abandonment issues, relationships being affected and things like this. So I made a firm decision at the start of the year to dive into these issues that had been haunting me for so long. And I just come to terms with the fact that I can't change what happened to me. And it's very, very, very hard to accept that for a lot of survivors out there. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, some people never accept it, what's happened. And it's a difficult one really to dive into, because sometimes we don't want to accept what's happened because it was so horrible and we don't think it's fair, and we can't believe that, you know, why did this happen to me? What did I do wrong? Do you know what I mean? Especially in terms if you've had traumatic experiences as a child. You know, no child deserves to go through any kind of abuse like that. So it's hard to accept what's happened to you, and there are still people out there that also, you know, haven't been able to open up and talk about what's happened to them as a child, and it's still haunting them to this day. So, you know, my advice really would be on this is we've got to realise the fact that we're still here. We have survived these experiences and these traumas. And I'm sure you're well aware that you're still here right now and you're watching this video. So if I am talking directly to you right now, you are a survivor. It's important to tackle those issues from childhood, whether it's abuse, you know, whatever happened to you as a child. We have to talk about this in order to overcome it. And we're always going to remember what's happened to us. Always, you know, we're never going to forget. But we can learn to, in a way, look at it and go, okay, well, that happened to me and it's affected me for too fucking long then, and I don't want it to affect me anymore. So I'm not going to let it affect me. I'm going to live my life the way I want to, because I deserve to. And that is a method of thinking that you should really try and force upon yourself when you wake up in the morning. I deserve to be here today. I deserve to be alive. My life is not worthless. So, you know, with myself, I had to do that. You know, things that happened with childhood, I had to overcome that. And once I felt like I was ready to accept it, then I started to immediately move on to something else, which was working out and changing my nutrition and my lifestyle. You know, certain things I was eating and drinking, and little things like this can really go a long way. You know, because you start off small and then you build. You know, I didn't rush anything either. That was the thing. You know, I was always thinking about what was in front of me at that time and not thinking about what I'm going to be doing in 6 months from now. I was thinking about what's in my face right now, and you know, it's a baby step kind of, you know, baby steps. That's all I can say really, is you got to take your time with each individual thing that you're trying to do to change your life, because there's a such thing called crashing and, you know, doing too much. You know, humans in a way are like computers, because we will we will do too much and we will overload our brains, and eventually we will crash and the depression will then come back. And that's one thing that we want to prevent. So it's important to take your time, you know, really focus, even if it's something small to you. You know, what's small to you could be big to somebody else, and what's big to you could be small to somebody else. So it's all about focusing on what's important to you, to yourself, because a lot of mental health survivors, they don't put themselves first because, you know, we suffer a lot with guilt. We feel guilty when we shouldn't, and we feel guilty for no reason sometimes. So, you know, we've got to try and overcome so many little feelings and so many different kinds of emotions on this journey to self-growth. It's a really difficult thing. Another thing I've done this year is, see, the things that I've done this year, I wrote a list down of things I did in 2020, and they all kind of tie into one thing besides one of them, and overcoming anxiety and kicking depression's ass, starting working out, starting a support group for mental health, which is called Survivors Elite on Facebook, and well, fixing my teeth, sort of. So all of those things, they kind of tie into all each other, because, you know, I didn't want to go to the dentist because of my anxiety, so I had to tackle my anxiety if I wanted to go to the dentist. I wasn't going to be able to start working out if I was depressed, so I had to start finding ways of just lifting my mood just enough to actually walk into the room and start picking up the weights and working out. And then starting the Survivors Elite group, I started to feel so good about all these little positives and stuff like that, that I wanted to, you know, kind of try and build a community of sorts to try and help other people try and apply my methods to their lives to see if it works for them. Because, you know, I can't promise that the things I do will work for you, but I can always just throw it out there and we can give it a try, can't we? That's the thing, then. It's all about trying. It's all about, you know, when people try and something doesn't work out, it's going to bring your mood down even lower. But a different way of thinking about it is, okay, well, I tried this, it didn't work, I accept that, but now I need to get back up and try something else. You know, it's about changing your mentality to, oh my God, this hasn't worked, I am giving up, I've had enough, to, oh my God, this hasn't worked, sorry, but I can change it, I can do something different, there is something else out there that I can try. And it's about trying to apply a positive to any sort of negative that you can find. Working on putting myself first, that's a big one there. That's a big one, putting myself first right at the bottom. Because people who suffer with mental health illnesses like borderline personality disorder and such are very, very caring people, sometimes overly caring, overly clingy, you know, in relationships and even in friendships and things like that. So putting yourself first is a really hard thing to do, because especially people with BDP, all they want to do is make others happy, and they forget a lot about themselves and putting themselves first. And that's exactly why I'm saying this right now, is in the nicest possible way of being selfish, you have to put yourself first in order to start changing your life. Simple as that, you know. And there's people out there that will say, well, it's easier said than done. Of course it's easier said than done. I mean, that's stating the obvious, but it's about, again, changing your way of thinking. Everything's easier said than done. But until we actually get up and start doing it instead of saying it, we'll never know what the difference could be. We'll never know what our potential could be. And everybody watching this video, you have potential. You know, I mean, I have been in situations in my life where, you know, I've self-harmed and I've attempted suicide and I've thought about suicide, you know, and I've been cheated on and I've been homeless 3 times, sorry. I've been cheated on twice in 2 different relationships. You know, I've had my nan die, I've had friends die, I've had not really much of a family growing up, and all these kind of things that have happened and I've experienced. But I'm still here. You know, I've survived it all. There was definitely times where I felt like I didn't want to even survive it. You know, I felt like I had no strength. Man, those times were tough, you know, in homeless shelters and stuff like that. I mean, I've got loads of videos on my channel talking about my experiences. And you've got to try and gather all this pain and all this trauma and say, fuck you, I'm better than you. And I'm going to put myself first, and I'm going to make a change, and I'm going to do what I should do, which is live the only life I'm ever going to get the way I want to, full of positivity. Okay, if you enjoyed this video, guys, why not like and subscribe? Help me out, get those subscribers up, get those likes up, even add a comment if you want to. I just dropped my glasses on the floor, so they're probably broke now, so please get those subscribers up so I can buy new glasses. Thank you.